Hey everybody, hoping you're having a great Saturday. So I figured I'd start this video off a little bit different than the other ones. What we're looking at here is basically the percentage of my portfolio in each of my accounts. And I don't think I've really started it this way, but I think it's a good overview as to show what exactly I talk about in these videos. So I guess the purpose of the video will be to talk about my May income. It's probably one of the worst months I've had in a couple months. Everyone knows, or at least if you follow the channel, you know that the second month of every quarter is generally my lowest income months. But I still got around $500 or so in passive income. But I'm really hoping that when we get to the third and fourth quarter, we start getting into the 600s, 700s during this month because I made some recent investments. And I'll make another video about those as well. So looking at the accounts, as you can see, my 401k is probably the largest of my accounts. But I never really talk about my 401k. Most of the time what we're talking about is 2/3 of this pie, leading from my individual brokerage account, my YouTube Moolah account, which you guys may have seen videos on, my Roth, my computer shares account, which label doesn't show up for that, I guess because it's so small here, some shares that I get through work, my investment in Cardone Capital. I'm still anticipating to get my first payment next month, but I will keep you guys posted. Haven't gotten anything yet. And I think it's probably because some folks at the office have been on vacation. And then also my 401k, like I mentioned here. I have some other really small accounts like my Fundrise, Shareholder Services, which started, I think, through Wells Fargo. I used to own some stuff. And they got transferred over to Shareholder Services. And then my personal savings, which at the moment has very little cash in it at all. And then let's walk through what we normally talk about, which is the sector allocation. So this is everything that's by sector for you guys. Cash is a little bit down compared to what it normally is. I've invested a lot of money recently, just trying to capture some of the recent costs like consumer staples going down really a good bit, and a couple other companies really just having some decent buying opportunities. And I'll probably talk more about the companies that I bought in a different video, but you can see that, just a couple months ago I was up to about 10-15% in cash right around the March, April timeframe, and that's all either been deployed. Whether or not that's a smart idea, maybe not, but some people might be saying, oh, well, the market's kind of up and down right now, but in actuality, I'm not necessarily looking for the cash value of the portfolio, more for income, and passive income with that. And to be 100% honest with you, who knows what the market would hold? I thought that based off of what was going on in 2015, the market would turn over, and look where we are today. We're about 4 years in, past that rather, and the market's still holding strong, and it went up to much higher highs. So it's better to invest through the market than to time the market. I think bunch of smart investors have said that. I'm not coming up with that on my own. I'm just listening to the advice of others. But people like Warren Buffett and what have you, they're investing all the time. So it is what it is. That also being said, or I guess progressing on from that, let's look at the total weight percentage and the income percentage of the portfolio itself. Everyone knows that energy is, generally speaking, my largest holding. It's because I work for the energy industry. And then financials is generally second to that, and then real estate as well. These take about 2/3 of the portfolio, which is somewhat daunting in terms of the sector weight percentage and the income percentage. So that being said, it's something that I might want to trim back on a little bit and rebalance the portfolio just to make it a little bit make more sense. I think there's like 10 or 12 of these sectors that are true like market sectors, you could say. So if that were the case, if this was even, it would be about 8% or so per. So that's something to definitely consider in the future, is if I want to actually have like a balanced portfolio, then that is what it should be. But yeah, a couple months ago I had a decent amount more income coming from cash. Obviously that's been deployed into some financials, some energy stocks, as well as some consumer staples. So, actually, not consumer staples, materials, and also industrials. That's right. So, plan on talking about that at a different time. But in terms of actual income received, I think I was messing around with my 2020 future cash flow here. So let's look at specifically the income that I got from May. So we're going to be looking at column I, so I will highlight that for us here. So that's May. Basically, AbbVie paid a little bit. My Cheniere Partners paid a little bit. My Kinder Morgan paid. My monthly income from Main Street Capital came in. My Realty Income Corporation came in as always. Seadrill Partners paid out. Stag Industrial, which is a monthly industrial warehouse, real estate investment trust, AT&T and Verizon, both telecom stocks. And of course that continues throughout the portfolio as I have Verizon elsewhere in the portfolio as well. Not much coming from the Roth IRA except from some cash payments for me holding cash, but that will start to dwindle down because I only got 0.75 for the month of May. More Realty Income Corp and Clorox, and obviously no Cardone Capital because that has yet to pay. Optimistic for next month. And then I had some Amex savings for the holdings that I paid in May. So for the cash that I held in the personal savings in May. So I have deployed all my money in my personal savings. So I currently have no nest or emergency fund, if that makes sense. Which could be good or bad, but anyway, it is what it is. So my Amex personal savings pays me interest on the 10th of every month for the money that I held in last month. So in April, this is the money that I had from April. But that gets us to about $417 for the month of May. And if you were to look at what I did in terms of YouTube income, I made about $83. So total for the month of May was probably around $500 or so dollars. But looking at the year-over-year increase, I guess, is more so what I'm concerned about. Let's get to the appropriate graph. I really should clean this up slightly. It's starting to get a little complex with other things. And some of the graphs I actually look at, some of them I don't. So might be worthwhile me just doing that. But looking at this, it's about a 40% increase. So I had $300 in dividend income last year in 2018, and I'm about $418 this year, which is about an increase of 117 if you include the decimals, which ends up being about 40% uplift, which is pretty good, right? And I think in terms of where I was in the past, sorry if I'm jumping around and give you whiplash here, but where are we at? So comparatively to 2018, we're up about 50% compared to where we were. So on a yearly basis. So last year I pulled in about $5,600 in dividends. This year I'm targeting around $8,500. So that's an increase of about 51. So May, not so great, but like I mentioned, in comparison to what I was year over year, but like I mentioned, I'm anticipating the second month of every quarter to start increasing. So like August was 350 last year. This year it's looking at about 681. And of course that goes down if Cardone Capital doesn't start paying, and some other stocks that I may have misjudged don't start paying. But I think there's a couple financial stocks and other industrial stocks that I invested in that are going to start paying out in August. And we're looking to get our very first $1,000 dividend income month in September, so the third month of the third quarter here. It's maybe with some further investing in June, July, might be able to get that up to $1,200, which would be really, really cool, but we will see. Optimistic, unless there's some dividend cuts or whatnot, that I'll get over $1,000, which will be the first time. And then next year, I'm pretty optimistic that we're going to almost average $1,000 in the third month of every quarter. So the end of every quarter, it's going to be looking pretty close. So March is over $1,000 next year. June is very close to $1,000. So by the time we get there, it'll be over $1,000. September is over $1,000, and December is almost $1,000. So really optimistic. You can see the forecast starting to get pretty wild here. I'm going to change this really quick, so bear with me here. Go across the screen, but 2019 is the red blocks here, and you can see on a monthly basis. Dark green is where we're getting to, so moving around some money. Some months are up, most months are and it's almost averaged out, if that makes sense, because I shifted and sold some things that would essentially get us to slightly more even monthly dividend payments rather than very skewed toward the third month of every quarter. But very much still looking for September. And the reason why September and March are both above 1,000 and then the June and December payments are below is because I have a semi-annual payer, BHP, which pays in March and September. And I have like 100 or so shares of that, and that pays out about 100 or so more dollars every semi-annual payment. So that's the difference, the main difference between these June and December payments and the September payments is September and March payments is that one company here. But overall, looking very sharp. I think getting dividends per month up, which is the goal here. So last year, everyone knows it was about 471. If you're following the channel very well. Currently looking at about 713. So this does not include, keep in mind, the YouTube income. That is secondary to that. So if I were to include that, it'd be closer to 800 because I'm averaging about $80 or so a month in YouTube income. And next year's forward income, just based off investments I've made in the first half of the year and dividend increases, it's looking at about 772. So I don't include any forecasted dividend increases. This is strictly what the company is paying at the moment, just carried into 2020. So for instance, if I bought some more Realty Income Corp, I'm not saying that it's automatically going to increase by 2 or 3%. I'm just going to say what I have invested today is going to be monthly throughout 2020, and that's the difference between these two. It also doesn't include potential dividend cuts. So in a down market, this could actually decrease as well. But it's a forecast. It's simple. It doesn't take any. It might be conservative. It might be optimistic, depending on what the market does. But anyway, very excited. This number in 2020, I'm fingers crossed, going to get to $1,000 every month. That is the goal, and that is $1,000 dividends, not $1,000 dividends and YouTube income and other potential income that might come from businesses or what have you. So very excited that the portfolio is coming out this way. You're starting to see this exponential number really start to get pretty crazy. And I think maybe what I'll do is one of the things that I've seen other people do is track a net worth curve, which I think is somewhat cool, but for me, it doesn't necessarily fit in with why I make the videos. I more so make the videos to capture my own dividend income, but maybe I can go back and check on a month-to-month basis what this actual total portfolio value is worth. And I like what's his name? He's a retired software engineer, and he's a YouTuber, and he does like the monthly net worth chart. Anyway, the numbers are starting to get move pretty quick, and I don't know if it's because I'm just investing more or if because the market's doing well or both. But anyway, if you like this video, let me know in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you have not already. I talk about monthly finance and personal finance and monthly dividend increases and dividend income that I receive. I also talk about some buys, and I also give some advice on what you might be able to do with your portfolio. I utilize Fidelity, as you may or may not know, and sometimes I give advice on what to do in Fidelity. So if you haven't subscribed already and that's something that seems like it might interest you, feel free to hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section down below. Love talking to you guys. Sometimes you guys generate some really good questions, and I love hearing your guys' perspectives as well. So I think that's it, guys. I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. I will talk to you guys next time. Have a great weekend.